Get set. Go.
So, hey, everybody, welcome to Live from the Owl's Nest. I'm Jamie.
I'm Alicia.
And together we make Royal Wise computer software training and support, specializing in QuickBooks Online, Microsoft Office, and
all things Apple.
There we go. So, welcome to the Owl's Nest this week. We got all sorts of fun stuff to talk about. What do you got going on?
Well, it depends on your definition of fun.
Oh, well,
Well, okay. So the fun in the Intuit world is we just got a notification. Last week we had actually talked about QuickBooks checking, which is the built-in QuickBooks checking account inside your QuickBooks Online. And one of the benefits of it is that it allows you to create envelopes so that you can silo off money that you're saving, either rainy day funds or money you're putting aside for payroll taxes or sales taxes or equipment or whatever. And the other benefit of QuickBooks checking is that it pays a 1% APY, which is more than I get from Bank of America. And so I've been loving QuickBooks checking as a way of setting money aside. Well, they've got some new news. The APY is increasing from 1% APY to 1.25% APY. So they're adding a quarter to it. But, and it's a big but, they are, it's only good for money in envelopes now. So any money that you keep in the liquid checking account to make it available for actually spending no longer qualifies for that 1%. You need to put it into the envelopes. So, if it's money that you're trying to capitalize, great. That's awesome. It's a great way of leveraging capital and still keeping the money handy. However, if you're actually using the money to pay your payroll taxes or to pay your anything, then it means that you have to manage those envelopes. And it's really, really, really important that you keep an eye on what's in the checking account versus in an envelope so that you don't start bouncing your checks, because one bounce check fee is going to be more than the money that you're making on the interest. So just wanted to put that out there and be warned.
Yay, envelopes.
Or be warned. Or yay, more interest. That's awesome. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I have interest in that.
Isn't that interesting?
There's interest in that interest.
Yeah,
I guess so.
Yeah.
Weird.
How about you? What's going on in your world?
Let's see. Apple World, we just had big announcements last week. There was the Apple Far Out event, and it was far out. Made a lot of new announcements, starting off with the iPhone 14 and the iPhone 14 Pro coming out. The biggest thing that they're talking about there is called the Digital Island. So the notch across the top where the camera is or whatever, right below it, there's now kind of this notification area that kind of transforms depending on what you're doing. If you're listening to music, there'll be a little controller for the music up there. All sorts of different things happen in the Digital Island. So that's kind of super fun and cool thing that's happening on the iPhone.
So no man is an island is now an island.
Well, that's only on the 14 Pro and the 14 Pro Max also.
So it's not going to happen on my phone.
Not on the 14 or the 14 Plus. No, you need to actually have the 14 Pro and the 14 Pro Max for that cool stuff to happen. Another announcement, AirPod Pro 2. So version 2 of the AirPod Pros. Supposed to just be better and better design, better sound, better everything. And also definitely the touch controls are better precision finding, where you can actually find each of them separately, which I think somebody I know would probably really like to be.
Not me. He's talking about one of my kids.
And then personalized spatial audio, where it's actually telling the shape of your ear and making spatial audio work specifically for you. So some very kind of high tech stuff there. And then the big announcement, which is not going to be for everybody, which is weird, but Apple Watch 8 Series 8's coming out, and that's a good thing. There's a lot of really great stuff. Temperature sensing. It's going to be able to study your body temperature. And because of that, this is great for women's health, is cycle tracking for ovulation.
Oh, neat.
And a whole bunch of things about tracking menstrual cycles. They did a big presentation, a lot of really great stuff now for women's health based on the Apple Watch. So that's super, super cool. Something else that's coming to the Apple Watch and the 14 phone is crash detection. If you're in a car crash, your phone or your watch will be able to tell you've been in a car crash and say, do you need me to call for help for you?
That's super cool.
Yeah, so that's a big one. That's kind of a cool thing. But this is the one that was just like, wow, is Apple Watch Ultra. Which is, we thought they were going to call it the Apple Watch Rugged, but it's not. It's the Ultra. And it is an Apple Watch specifically designed for people that run marathons and go to mountaintops and hike in freezing temperatures and all sorts of different things. It's designed differently with a very strong watch face. There is an action button on one side. And the other buttons are bigger, so you can actually deal with them with gloves on. And it's just got a ton of different things going on with it, as far as a multi-day battery, a wayfinder watch face. What's that?
I could use that.
Well, the watch is bigger because it's got a bigger battery so that it can do that. So if you want like a small, nice Apple Watch, you're not going to be able to get that.
Okay.
So there's that. Special bands for alpine, trail, and ocean. So if you happen to be a diver, there's a band for that. If you happen to be a climber, there's a band for that. And just some really kind of cool stuff. A wayback marking and backtrack, where when you're hiking, it can actually like take note of where you are.
Can that prevent you from getting lost? Can you actually retrace your steps?
That's what we're talking. It's called backtrack. Yeah,
that's freaking cool.
And something else that I'm not sure. I think it's part of the Apple Watch Ultra, but I think it's on the phone too. I think it's got to be again a 14 or 14 Pro, but it's emergency SOS via satellite was something else that they announced that was like wow, that's really cool.
So if you're off grid,
and if you're out of you don't have a GPS maybe, but you definitely don't have a cell signal or anything like that, and it's actually going to find a satellite above you and actually tell you where to point your phone. So you're pointing your phone at that satellite.
Ooh.
And then it's going to bounce to the satellite down back to an emergency call center that Apple's setting up all over. They're setting up these emergency call centers all over the world.
Does Elon Musk have something to do with this? Is it leveraging his satellite?
They were talking about whether Starlink was going to be a part of that, and that his Starlink balloon satellites were, or if they could improve the situation. And there has been some talk about that.
Oh, interesting.
So I mean, it's there's other cool, like, oh, the phone can do this, or the new iOS 16 just came out yesterday, and now it's got like the front of the iPhone lock screen can look like an Apple Watch with widgets and different things like that. So there's a lot of iOS 16 cool stuff coming up. As far as the hardware goes, crash detection, women's health on the watch, emergency SOS via satellite. These were kind of like the things that really jumped out that were very, very cool. Not your normal kind of tech, not applying to everybody, but really cool ways of using the technology for supporting everyday life.
I have to say that the women's health tracking right now is more important than ever, because every tool that we can have to stay safe so that we can stay in control of our bodies, this will be a huge asset for that.
Knowing what the body needs is always very important for
knowing when you might get
being
pregnant
able to
would actually be really helpful.
For knowing how to stay in control of your body autonomy. Definitely knowing what's happening with it is a big step forward. Yes. So yay Apple for some of that stuff.
Thank you, Apple.
Like really cool that some
Thanks,
of that
Tim
stuff
Cook. Thanks, Steve Jobs.
and all of that stuff. Okay, back to you. I know we're traveling.
Yeah.
And you're going to something cool.
I am. Yeah, I am. I was delighted to get accepted into the inaugural 2022 Appy Hour camp. And this is a retreat that's being put on by the Appy Hour, which is Heather Satterley and Liz Scott. And they do a podcast or a broadcast where they have different apps come in that integrate with QuickBooks Online, and then they deep dive each of the apps.
Not happy hour, but Appy Hour.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
But their symbolism are a little more teeny glass.
A little more teeny glass.
And actually every event they have a signature cocktail. So each vendor, each sponsor actually creates their own signature cocktail.
Oh, just like we had interest in that last one. I'm happy about this.
Yeah, exactly. So they decided to bring together a lot of QBO educators or accounting and bookkeeping educators in the space for a retreat, so that we can finally hang out, because we only get to see each other either on Facebook or at conferences. And at conferences, we're always like, oh, I got to go to this workshop, or I'm having this in-depth conversation over here. I don't have time to talk to you, or I'm getting on stage. And so it's, instead of being in that frenetic, frenzied environment, we actually get to hang out. And where it is actually at the resort where Dirty Dancing was filmed. So I think we'll have some dance lessons and some painting and ropes courses. And then, of course, we'll be collaborating together on our different projects. And actually, that Mountain Lake has a meaning for you, too, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I've been to Mountain Lake. I used to live in Blacksburg, Virginia, and I've been to Mountain Lake plenty of times.
Yeah. And so I was really excited about this event. And so I'll be heading out there for this week.
I wish there was still a lake there.
Yeah, the lake all dried up, and you can still see the little concrete block where they put Patrick Swayze on it so that he could do his lifts without like being up to his neck in water. So that apparently is still there. So looking forward to seeing that.
Still a thing.
Yeah.
Still a thing.
And then I went and made myself, we actually joined in as a sponsor. They needed, excuse me, some help with the providing free shuttles to all of the attendees because it's about an hour away from the airport. And so we stepped up at Royal Wise to be an Happy Hour sponsor, and I'm making little tiny owls for everybody who's there. So that's
she really is.
But all the little owls have little martini glasses either on their heads or in their wings. So I'll show them off in one of these next up.
There we go. Well, you'll show them up at the Happy Hour when you're handing them all out. So there we go. Whee! Yeah. Well, let's talk about classes coming up. Is it time to talk about classes?
Sure.
I haven't done a class in a few months. I kind of took the summer off, let everything kind of just sit. But of course, they're all on demand, right? We have them all online on demand. Just because I'm not doing them live webinar style doesn't mean you can't go and watch those on-demand classes. But my class is coming up on Friday, the 23rd of this month at 11 a.m. and it is passwords and Keychain. And so it's going to be a 1-hour class where I'm going to be talking about password security and safety. And what is the keychain for Apple devices, and what's the iCloud keychain? How do we use it? How do we edit it? Also, what's a strong password, right? Should I use the password suggestion or should I not use the password suggestion? And if not, how do I make a password that's going to be a strong password? So we're going to talk about all that kind of stuff, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it. I just think it's a topic that more people need to understand and have good information. I'm getting asked a lot, like, do I need a password manager? Do I need 1Password? Do I need Dashlane? Do I need all this stuff? And for most of my older clients, my retired folks and seniors, I say, no, Keychain is good enough now. Before, we didn't have a graphical user interface for it. We couldn't really get to the Keychain unless we used Keychain Access, which is no user interface. But now that it's in the Safari preferences menu under passwords, we have a way to access it and edit it and get rid of dupes and change passwords and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to show you that utility and how to use it and how to be in control of your passwords.
Yeah, and so that way you can have those crazy passwords that are like ZXWY4962
dash.
Yeah, exactly, and still be functional in the world. So it's I'm looking forward to that.
Well, I'll give you a little preview. Even like I'm going to say in that class, I'll say it right now. I hate the password suggestions because if I ever need to type it in and in the app, or like, what if the keychain's not available because I'm not in Safari, and then I've got to type it in later. I don't always love having to well, it's a capital Z and then there's a dash and then there's a whatever. So we're going to talk about strategies, or kind of like, how do you call them, personal algorithms or heuristics that you can create passwords using a certain patterning that still breaks up the word or number in a certain way, but you can still do it and do it in a way that you can remember. So I'm gonna give you kind of something I created to make making memorable passwords functional.
Just make sure it's different than the heuristic that I use. Otherwise, people will be able to figure out my password.
No.
Okay.
No. I didn't create yours. There you go. I didn't come up with yours. No. This is something. The patterning would be personal. Even you would decide the pattern you want to use. Is it going to be this, then this, then this, or is it going to be this, then this, then this? And no two people have to choose the same thing.
Okay.
Right. There's 3 or 4 things, and you put them in a certain order, and and then you can remember to type stuff in if you need to.
Okay, good.
How about you? You got any classes coming up?
Yes, I do. On October 4th, I am doing my progress invoicing and job costing class. And so this class talks about how to use QuickBooks Online to, when you have a project that is not just a one and done, but you have some scope where you give an estimate and then you break it up into multiple invoices and then multiple payments. And there's a project center in QuickBooks Online Advanced and Plus that allows you to to view the project in a dashboard so you can see all the income and the expenses all in one place, which allows you to see your profitability. It allows you to job cost your hours and your materials so you can see which of your staff are working on the project. It's really pretty amazing. So it's a 2-hour class. It's on October 4th, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I hope you can join us for it.
There you go. And I got one more that's going to be coming up. It's not on the calendar just yet. I believe it's going to be the week after this one on Friday the 30th, but it's going to be what's new in iOS 16. That's a 1-hour kind of show and tell where I'm going to just pull up my phone and or my iPad and go through iOS, well, my iPhone, of course, and go through iOS 16 and show you the new features and how to access them, how to customize the lock screen, and a bunch of other kind of cool little things that are happening on the iPhone.
Yeah, your What's New classes are some of my favorite ones because I get used to doing what I know how to do and how I get in there. And occasionally I'll go like, oh, that's new. But really taking the time to go through all of the features and dig out all of those new little enhancements that make our life easier is so worth it. So I'm really glad that you do that class every year.
Yeah, and then here's something. I'll just pull this up and show you. On the new phone screen, there's my daughter Grace, but you'll notice her face is in front of the time.
Oh,
right. And,
oh my God, that's so cool.
And that's just something that they've done now, where just like when you do portrait mode, the front is clear and the back is blurry. They've got this kind of new thing where you can literally just pick up the object in the picture and then put it into a text message or an email. And it's like using Photoshop's magic wand, right? Like you pull a piece of the picture out,
and you do it just
literally, touch and click and drag, and all of a sudden it's it's like wow.
That beats the old days when you had to actually click on all your points around it to mask
pixel
it.
by pixel or whatever. And so that's kind of the first way they show it off is you put a picture on your lock screen and all of a sudden it's the foreground is separated from the background.
Oh, that's awesome. Yay. How did you know I was going to say that?
No. It's like mine. Is that it for today? Did we do it?
I think that's everything I've got.
Done it again here in the Owl's Nest. Thank you for joining us here at Live in the Owl's Nest. I'm Jamie.
I'm Alicia.
And we will
see you in class.
See you in class, everybody.